I absolutely love animated films, and Disney animated films are my absolute faves, I would have to say. I have grown up with so many different Disney animated movies in my time. I'm going to say the first memory I have of any Disney movie would have to be Robin Hood. So, the Disney animated version of Robin Hood, where you've got the Robin Hood story played by humanoid animals. Lots of fun, very entertaining, I have to say. My absolute favorite Disney animated movie, because I have watched that movie to nauseum and I know all the scenes. I can probably recite all of the bloody lines. And whenever I look through a list of quotes, I'll know exactly where all of those quotes belong in the film. That's how much I love it. There are so many quotes from that movie that I love so much. I'd say my favorite character in the movie is definitely Little John. Because his name's very ironic to himself, because he's supposed to be a big grizzly bear, but he's so cuddly and so cool. And he's always asking Robin questions about, why he's doing certain things and whether or not the fact that they're stealing from the rich to feed the poor, is that really considered stealing? And Robin's response is, no, we're just borrowing from those who can afford it. So that's actually a kind of cool sort of way of looking at it, I suppose, in terms of that sort of robbing from the rich to feed the poor. The Lady Cluck is also a good one, because the voice actor for that particular character puts on a very I'm pretty sure it's a Scottish accent, or I could be wrong. It's just so hilarious because the character itself is a chicken. And even more ironic, she is the lady servant to Maid Marian, and Maid Marian is a fox. And she's a chicken. Kind of funny how those work together, huh? But I grew up watching this movie, loved it so much. I remember watching it on a VHS tape, and because my parents had recorded it for me so that I could just watch it whenever I felt like it, and I would watch it all the time. My parents didn't mind, and I remember that I would never know how it ended, because the last, I'm going to say, 5 to 10 minutes of the film was taped over by something else. So for years, I had no idea how the film ended until finally Blu-rays became a thing. Blu-rays and DVDs became a thing. So I ended up buying the actual Blu-ray to Robin Hood, and then watched it from start to finish, and then I found out what actually happens at the end. And this was before streaming services were a thing here in Australia or anywhere in the world, I'd say. So when DVDs and Blu-ray discs were started to become more of a thing, and I think it took to a point where Blu-ray discs were getting a little bit cheaper compared to what they were when they originally started coming out. I ended up buying Robin Hood, and then started my collection of Disney animated movies from there. So yeah, I can definitely say Robin Hood is my absolute favorite of the Disney animated movies. There are quite a few other ones that I do remember. I remember watching Snow White quite a few times. And yeah, look, being that it's such an old movie, it didn't really like. All I knew was I just knew about the story of Snow White, and yeah, I mean the Disney Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs back in 1937. So this was one of the first Disney animated films, and I really, really enjoyed watching Snow White as well. Probably not my favorite between Snow White and Robin Hood. Robin Hood is definitely a winner for me because it's very, very comical, a lot of fun. There are some elements of it that is a little bit like very lifelike or relatable, and the way that they portrayed the whole scenario of where the town was like very poor, and the royalty or whoever worked for royalty was always very rich. And I know it's mightily exaggerated compared to real life, but there are some things in that movie that is similar. So there is a little bit of dark elements in it, but overall, it's actually still a lot of fun to watch. Whereas Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, that one had a lot of dark elements to it. Like I'd say the only fun bits of the movie was when you're introduced to the dwarves themselves, and finding out what each of their character personalities are, and it's so much fun to learn. And it's funny how Dopey's the one that doesn't talk at all. I'd have to say I related more to probably Sleepy or Bashful. Bashful probably more so. But I was always very sleepy, so I could really relate. I mean, now I could relate 100% to Sleepy. But Bashful was also, back then, I was very, very quiet child. And when I was growing up. So I could definitely relate to Bashful back then. But Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was another one that I can sort of definitely remember back in the day. A few others that I can remember. I remember watching Pocahontas a lot as well when it came out. And Pocahontas, I think, came out in the 90s, 1995. And I do remember really enjoying Pocahontas. And I still do, even though looking at it from a modern perspective, there are things about that film that can be very, probably doesn't age well. But, putting aside all of the racial notes about this movie, I actually really do enjoy Pocahontas. It's really good. Didn't really enjoy the sequel, to be honest. I'm not a big, I've noticed that a lot of Disney animated movies with their sequels, they're not the greatest. The first film is always the best one. Robin Hood obviously didn't have a sequel. And Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, I don't think had one either, or maybe I'm remembering incorrectly. Pocahontas did, and it's where Pocahontas actually travels to England with John Smith. No, it doesn't work. No, I didn't like it. I really enjoyed the songs in Pocahontas. They were a lot of fun to sing as well. And I'd say the animal characters in the film as well are very entertaining. They have their own little personalities. Flick, the little woodpecker bird. She's not really a woodpecker, but it's I can't really put a name to the actual type of bird it is, but very, very cute. Very, making sure that Miko is always following the rules of what Pocahontas says. Miko being the little raccoon that loves to cause trouble, which was really cute because, I could see myself as being, Miko and always, looking for cookies and any kind of food, really. And he was really cute too. What other films did I really enjoy back then that I remember watching? I do remember watching Atlantis. Atlantis is probably one of my other absolute favorite Disney animated films growing up. And I know that Atlantis, I'd say, is a bit more recent than Pocahontas. I'm just quickly going to... 2001, where Milo was voiced by Michael J. Fox. Such a great character. Milo was absolutely hilarious, but also very, very likable character as well, because all he wanted to do was follow in his grandfather's footsteps and just, find this hidden place in the oceans. And, he was given the opportunity to do so, and, ended up finding love down there as well, not to mention learning about a new civilization and the way that they've been staying alive, which was really, really awesome to see as well. So I really did enjoy, and I still do to this day. I really do enjoy Atlantis and the Lost Empire. That one also had a sequel that I didn't really particularly like, where Milo and Kida ended up going up to the surface in the second film, because they needed him, and so the people that were back on the surface, they needed them, and they went back up to help. It was so good. And John Mahoney, was an amazing Preston Whitmore, Mr. Whitmore. That voice, just every time I hear that voice, it just, oh man, it gives me like warm fuzzies, because he was such a cute little character in the movie. And yeah, I definitely love Atlantis. Definitely one of my favorites as well. There are so many new Disney movies now. I'm not counting any of the Pixar ones, because that in itself, the Disney Pixars, there's so many of those as well, and that's its own category, I'm going to say. I will say, however, touch on a few other movies that I really enjoyed growing up as well. Aladdin being one of them, definitely a favorite, with Robin Williams as the genie, absolute legend. Man, rest in peace. What an amazing, amazing voice actor, and just actor in general, always making sure that everybody had a smile on their face. And then there was, Alice in Wonderland was a nice little quirky one. I really did enjoy Alice in Wonderland as well. Probably not, I haven't really watched it as much. But growing up, I think I remember watching Alice in Wonderland quite a few times. And then I've actually seen a few different iterations of Alice in Wonderland in the live action form. Where I don't think they were made by Disney. I think they were just made by other production companies. But I did enjoy them. There was, I'm just trying to remember which ones I've watched. I've watched the Tim Burton ones. And there was another one that I've watched that was also, it came out back in the 90s. And it was definitely, it was either late 90s, early 2000. Definitely not the Tim Burton one. Where is it? Alice in Wonderland. Just trying to remember which one it was. I think it was yes, there it is, 1999. Sorry, I'm doing a little IMDb research while I'm talking at the same time. The 1999 version of Alice in Wonderland was actually my favorite live action because, and I watched it quite a few times, because there's a lot of voice actors in this particular movie that you will definitely recognize voices to. For example, the Cheshire Cat was voiced by Whoopi Goldberg. Ned Tweedledum was voiced by Robbie Coltrane. And then you also had Ben Kingsley, who played the Major Caterpillar. And, so many amazing voice actors. Christopher Lloyd was the White Knight. The Queen of Hearts was Miranda Richardson. My goodness, that Queen of Hearts, I have to admit, was probably my favorite because she was just so tight-lipped when she spoke, and it was freaking amazing. I absolutely loved it so much. Martin Short was also in it, and he played the Mad Hatter. George Wendt played Fred Tweedledee. Gene Wilder was also in it, and he played the Mock Turtle. And there's a little song in that with the Mock Turtle that just warms my heart, and it's about soup. I don't know if any of you have probably heard about it, but it kind of goes like, beautiful soup, soup. What is it? Soup in the morning, and then soup in the evening. And then it just goes into this little harmony of, beautiful soup. And then they just keep going with it. It's so cute. Just really, really warms my heart when I heard that song. So it's probably my favorite of the live action versions of Alice in Wonderland. But the animated version itself is also a lot of fun. I really do enjoy it. What other movies have I really enjoyed or that I've seen? I do remember watching Bambi. I think I've only ever seen it once in my life. I don't remember much of it. So I'm probably going to say it's not one of my favorites since I've only seen it once. I may have to rewatch of Bambi, to be honest, just so that I know what happened. So I remember what happened. Like, I know the ending obviously has been spoiled for me, like, for many years. I know what happens, but I honestly don't remember it happening. So yeah, I may have blocked it out of my memory potentially. But that's fine. Beauty and the Beast is definitely another good one. It's a lot of fun. The songs, the music in Beauty and the Beast is also really great as well. I especially love the which one is it where oh my goodness, I'm blanking on names of things. See, this is why I don't always remember titles of songs. It's not good for me. But it's one of the songs where Lumiere sings and they're setting up the dinner table in the hall, and it's always a lot of fun. Oh my goodness, I had no idea David Ogden Stiers actually voiced Cogsworth. That is amazing. David Ogden Stiers is an amazing voice actor. And I think I first came across him as a voice actor in Lilo and Stitch, which is another favorite of mine. I absolutely love Lilo and Stitch. I've watched number 2, and I think I've watched number 3. And then I've also seen the animated series that came on the Disney Channel at some point. So I've watched that start to finish. David Ogden Stiers is an amazing voice actor. He plays Jumba in Lilo and Stitch, and he is absolutely hilarious. Such a great character. Loved him so much. And David Ogden Stiers, just in general, is just his voice is very, very iconic, very notable. Like, you hear that voice, you know it's David Ogden Stiers. It's absolutely amazing. And then I found out that he was in MASH for half the series, which was absolutely amazing. He was introduced as was a Major Charles Emerson Winchester III from season 6 to season 11. So he was introduced into the series from season 6 onwards, and man, oh man, did you want to hate him so much. But then he became a really interesting character throughout the MASH series, and you sort of start to like him a little bit too, which is really cool. But getting back into the animated movies, Big Hero 6, definitely a very, very recent to the ranks. I think that was in the 2016s, I think. 2014, sorry. Yeah, I meant the 20 teens. It came out in 2014, Big Hero 6. Such a great film. I cannot tell you how much I love Baymax. Baymax is such a great character. Hello there. I am Baymax, your personal healthcare companion. Yes, I've memorized half the things that Baymax says, and especially his little fist pump where he goes, la la la. It's my absolute favorite. Baymax, voiced by Scott Adsit. Man, I've watched some behind the scenes stuff because I bought the Blu-ray of Big Hero 6, and they did like a little sort of like interview with Baymax himself, which was absolutely hilarious. I loved it. And there's a new Baymax series coming to Disney Plus that I cannot wait for. I am so ready for that. It's coming out mid-year this year, I believe. It says summer 2022, which for me, being in Australia, means winter 2022. But I cannot wait. I know it's probably going to be a children's series, but I don't care. I am a big child. I love Baymax. Baymax is one of my favorite Disney characters. He is so much fun. Absolutely, so much fun. Love him so much. Big Hero 6, the story, though, it starts off very sad, but then it sort of comes together as a group of friends that study together, also then become their own little team of heroes. And they, because of what they study with a lot of high-tech machinery and science. And so they use that to their advantage to create their own hero costumes and powers and weapons and whatnot. And it's absolutely like really, really cool. I'd say out of the group in terms of their hero powers, I do like Go-Go. She's really cool with her little skating wheels, I think, with her discs. We had, there's Damon Wayans Jr. who played Wasabi. That's a character, man. He was cool. Daniel Henney plays Tadashi, and he's the big brother of Hiro, and it was so good because, man, their relationship as brothers was really, really heartwarming at the beginning, and then it broke my heart to find out that Tadashi passes away. Spoilers. If you haven't watched it, it's been out for a while. Absolutely love Big Hero 6. I've watched it quite a few times, and I will never get sick of it. Cinderella, I do remember watching Cinderella a few times growing up. I do have the Blu-ray of Cinderella with all 3 films. I don't believe I've seen all 3 films, even though I own them. I have seen the first one, and gotta say, there've been so many different iterations of Cinderella, including in live action form, that I'm kind of tired of seeing the Cinderella story now. But the original Cinderella itself was actually really, really sweet, but also very kind of dark. I mean, I would not want to have a stepmother that cruel ever. I'd never want to wish that upon anybody either. But I know that there are people out there who have, step parents or siblings that are similar to those characters in the film. So, yeah. Man, there's so many. Dumbo, I think I've only seen once or twice. The Emperor's New Groove. Oh my goodness. If you don't know me, I absolutely love this movie. Another one where I will quote a lot of the lines from the film. Absolutely love Cusco, played by David Spade. So hilarious, so much fun, lots of entertainment. Then we've got, Yzma, which is, for those of you who do come to my streams, you will know that I have an Yzma cat voice redemption. Because I've created a voice mod where it actually makes my voice sound like Yzma cat from the film. It's kind of hamstery in the way that it sounds. Like if you were to think like Alvin and the Chipmunks, it's kind of like that, but not as squeaky. I will say it's not as squeaky as that, but it still has that sort of high-pitched tone almost, but it has character to it too. And it's I love Yzma. Like, she is such a hilarious villain, have to say, and there's a lot of funny moments, puns that everybody can enjoy. John Goodman playing Pacha was also amazing. Eartha Kitt played Yzma, and have to say, I don't think there's anybody out there who can play Yzma better than what Eartha Kitt did, and I just applaud her for her performance. It's absolutely amazing. And then you've got Patrick Warburton, that notable deep voice that played Kronk. Kronk is such an amazing character. Dumb, but sweet. So good. Absolutely loved her. Absolutely loved him. And then just the rest of the characters that you find in the movie is just so cool. But the most notable being John Goodman and David Spade. They're they play off each other so well. And The Emperor's New Groove is just, there's like a lot of quick, witty snaps, like throughout the whole film, and it's really good. And the way that they get out of certain situations when Yzma and Kronk are trying to find them throughout their journey back to the palace. Oh my God, it's so fun. And the music just kicks in. You know what you're going to get. It's very jazzy, the way that they've decided to play the music in this particular movie. Lots of jazz music in it, and I absolutely love it. What other movies have I seen that isn't within the last few years? Frozen is a good one. I know a lot of people are sick of Frozen because they probably have kids that absolutely love the movie, and they've probably watched it ad nauseum, especially listening to Let It Go so much. I'm lucky in the fact that I get to control how many times I watch these movies because I don't have kids. So I actually don't mind Frozen. And Frozen 2, probably one of the only movies that has a really good sequel. Not a lot of animated movies have good sequels, so I was a little hesitant about Frozen 2, but then when I watched it, I was glad. It was still, just as entertaining as the first one. So definitely give them high props for that, for making it look good and sound good, and the music in it as well is really good as well. Hercules, that's another good one. I gotta rewatch that. I haven't watched it nearly enough. It's actually a really good film, and I need to watch it a few more times because the characters in Hercules is really good, and the storytelling is amazing as well, especially because it's ancient Greek mythology. So good. The Jungle Book. The Jungle Book is also a good one. The music in that is a lot of fun as well. The songs are very catchy. I do remember having, I don't know if you remember, as a child, I had this book, and it was the Jungle Book storybook, but it had like little buttons on the side where you push the button and it plays the sound. It plays a sound. And so throughout the actual story, when you're reading through, there'll be little icons that correspond to the sound bar, the sound buttons. So you'd press that whenever you got to that point. And I absolutely loved reading that book purely because of the sound interaction. So that was a lot of fun. And I have seen the live action variations of the Jungle Book. I am going to say, though, I think I prefer the animated version. I haven't seen the second one. I never even knew there was a Jungle Book 2. I really feel like I need to watch that at some point. But I'm slightly suspicious of how good it's going to be because of the track record of Disney animated sequels. Lady and the Tramp is another good one. That's a really cute story about two dogs falling in love and about class as well. Haven't seen the second one, have to say. Kronk's New Groove, which is the sequel to The Emperor's New Groove. It's actually not terrible. It's still actually quite fun. I did enjoy Kronk's New Groove. I've only seen it once, but it's not as good as the first one, even though this story is based on Kronk, which I feel like because in the first film, Kronk was such a great character that they wanted to give him a spin-off. And so they did. And it's cute because they sort of touch on his story before he ended up becoming Yzma's lackey. But it's still actually pretty good. We're circling back to Lilo and Stitch because I absolutely love Lilo and Stitch. Stitch is my favorite character in that film, obviously. Being the odd one out in the family. He's always a lot of fun. I've been collecting a lot of Stitch Pops, like pop vinyl figures, and I've also been trying to find whatever kind of Stitch merch I can find, like T-shirts, accessories and ornaments and whatnot. And even mugs and cups. Just love it. Love Stitch so much. The Lion King. That's another one from my childhood. Absolutely love The Lion King. I remember having the VHS to this. I'd play it a lot. Probably not as much as Robin Hood, but I played The Lion King a lot. And Timon and Pumbaa were my favorites. In that whole movie, Timon and Pumbaa were my standout characters. I absolutely loved those two characters. And then I found out, so I've only seen Lion King 2, which is Simba's Pride, I think. I've seen that one maybe once. I've seen, not officially called 3, it's officially called 1.5, so The Lion King 1.5, because it's the story behind the scenes of The Lion King, but from Timon and Pumbaa's perspective of what happened up until the point where they were introduced to Simba and the rest of the Lion, Pride. And my goodness, I know a lot of people out there that do not like 1.5. I absolutely love it because it's just so entertaining and just a lot of laughs. And you find out the backstory of Timon before Timon met Pumbaa, and it's just so good. I loved it so much. And then the way that they decided to put Timon and Pumbaa, like from their perspective, how certain things from the first Lion King film, how it happened from their perspective. Some parts can be a little like, no, that would not have happened type of thing, but it's an animated movie, so very exaggerated. But I did enjoy 1.5. I know some of you out there don't, but I do. You can let me know in the comments if you enjoyed it at all. If we sort of let's fast forward to the current times. Mulan is another good one. Absolutely love Mulan. Probably one of my favorites as well. It's got some really good songs in that. I have to say, a lot of the Disney animated films that are musicals, really good. Absolutely love them. Very catchy songs. Mulan being one of them. What was the other one? So Lion King is another one that has some really nice catchy songs. The Jungle Book, Frozen, so many other ones. Aladdin most iconically, absolute classic when it comes to musical, in terms of their musical numbers. Mulan, Mushu, man, dude, Mushu, you the best dragon, okay? Absolutely love him so much. And the story was really, really interesting as well. And Pocahontas also had some really good songs as well. Let's fast forward to current times, the current Disney animated films that have come out. Tangled was not so bad. That came out in the last 10-ish years, I think. Just going to quickly double check that one. 2010. So that's definitely longer than 10 years. So that was a really cool one too. I enjoyed Tangled. And then there were some of the more recent ones. For instance, we have Raya and the Last Dragon. That is an amazing 3D animated film. Really love it. Really good story. And the way that it was all sort of like the traditions and just the backstory of a lot of like very, very Eastern culture. And I really enjoyed that. Wreck-It Ralph was also a good one. A lot of IP in that one in terms of like video games. That was a lot of fun to watch. So I definitely need to do a rewatch of Wreck-It Ralph. Gonna wreck it. Moana. Oh my goodness, Moana. There's a lot of people out there who have kids as well. Just like Frozen, when Moana came out, probably a lot of kids loved singing the songs from Moana. Another good one. Really love it. Dwayne Johnson as Maui. Absolute hilarious. So good. Oh my goodness. There's a lot of Disney Pixar movies that I'm probably skipping right now. Winnie the Pooh is a good one. It's a very good family story. Very good children's story. Winnie the Pooh is very relatable as well. So many different iterations of Winnie the Pooh films and shows. You know, growing up is definitely one of the classics. to be watching that on TV at some point. Zootopia wasn't too bad. Zootopia was pretty cool. I liked Zootopia. Not the greatest film, but it's interesting. It's got an interesting story. Oh my goodness, I'm sure there are so many other Disney movies that I am skipping right now because they're not coming to mind, or because most of them were probably Disney Pixar's. Encanto was the most recent one, and that at the moment is up for a few different Oscar nominations, including Best Animated Feature. It's also got Best Original Song, I think, nomination, which is really cool. I love Encanto. The songs in there are really, really fun to listen to. And it's a story about family, and how each family member have their own pressures. One of them being Luisa, being the strong one, the strong sister to Mirabel, and my goodness, like her song, very relatable. And Mirabel just looks like me. And which is another reason why I love it so much. Even though I am not of South American descent, I love the fact that the way that Mirabel looks. You see me, you see her, and it's like, oh look, it's me. A lot of my friends and workmates saw the character of Mirabel, and they immediately thought of me, and I'm just like, aw, that's cute that Disney decided to use my face. I know they probably didn't. I'm pretty sure they didn't, but it's cool. It's just nice to know that I can sort of see myself in a Disney character now. I think I'm going to leave it there. There are so many other Disney animated films that I am probably just forgetting right now. But I know there's also a lot of Disney Pixar films. Even though I did mention a few of them without talking about them, I still want to talk about them at some point, but I'm not going to talk about it now specifically. So yeah, we'll leave it at that. Let me know in the comments what you think is one of the best Disney animated films. Not Disney Pixar, just Disney. I know there's definitely a lot here on the list that I have not mentioned, because there's a potential that I may not have even seen them myself, but that's totally fine. I'm pretty sure you guys probably would have watched a lot of them yourselves. Let me know which one's your favorite. Let me know which of the films that I mentioned were, ones that you liked or disliked. I'd like to know. It'd be really cool to find out what your thoughts are on these particular movies. So that'd be really cool. So let's wrap it up. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Many Thoughts I Have. If you'd like to check out more of my content, you can watch me stream live at twitch.tv/foolishfuji. I also have some videos available to watch over at youtube.com/foolishfuji. And you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. All these links are available in the show notes. Remember to look after yourself and your mental health, and I'll chat with you next time.